Hey everyone and welcome. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on home security. We're getting an insider's guide to the lock brands that professional locksmiths actually trust and install. You know, the ones they'd happily put on their own front doors.
So let's just start with a really direct question. Is your front door really secure? I mean, you probably think it is, right? But that small piece of metal you turn every single day, it makes a world of difference. The brand, the model, the standard it meets, believe me, it all matters way more than you might think.
You know, this quote from our source material just hits the nail on the head. You aren't just buying a lock, you are investing in a specific tier of security. That one idea changes everything. It's not just about a piece of hardware, it's about consciously choosing a level of protection for your home and family. So let's start exploring what those tiers actually look like.
All right, so we're going to start with the household names, the brands you've definitely seen before. This will give us a really solid foundation before we start getting into the more specialized, high-security stuff that the pros really rely on.
First up, Yale. I mean, is there a more recognizable name in the entire lock industry? I really don't think so. They are an absolute giant, and they make everything from the most basic internal door latch to some seriously cutting-edge security systems.
Now this is where it gets really interesting because this highlights a critical distinction. So many people will say, oh yeah, I have a Yale lock, and they're usually talking about a standard night latch like the number 1 or number 2 you see here. But look closely, those are not insurance approved. To get that seal of approval, you have to step up to something like the PBS series, which has an anti-saw bolt, or the Platinum cylinder, which is designed for modern UPVC doors.
So for the pros, the biggest reason to use Yale is its incredible range. A customer might need a simple, budget-friendly latch, or they might need a top-tier, anti-snap cylinder for their composite door. Heck, they might even want a police-approved smart lock like the Connexus L1. No matter what, Yale has a trusted option ready to go.
Okay, next up we've got Era. Now, while it might not be quite as famous as Yale, for locksmiths, Era is a true workhorse brand. They are absolutely laser-focused on one thing: building robust, affordable locks that meet really tough security standards.
And you can really see that commitment to security right here. Just take a look at their flagship model, the Era Fortress Deadlock. It's not just a 5-lever lock, oh no. It is packed with features like hardened steel plates to stop someone from drilling it out, and it has this massive 20mm bolt. That is the kind of heavy-duty detail that makes a huge difference in an attack.
So for a locksmith, Era is often the go-to brand for upgrades. When a customer has an older door that isn't up to current insurance standards, fitting an Era Fortress is one of the most common, reliable, and effective solutions in the entire industry.
Okay, so we've covered the everyday staples. Now we're moving up to the next tier, the specialists. First, we'll check out a brand with some truly unique technology. And then, we are going to clear up one of the biggest points of confusion in the entire lock industry.
Have you ever seen a key with little dimples or craters drilled into the side, instead of the usual jagged teeth on the edge? If you have, chances are you are looking at a Mul-T-Lock key. They are absolute specialists in creating these incredibly complex, high-security cylinders.
So what's the big deal? Well, this right here is their secret sauce. Inside a Mul-T-Lock, you don't just have normal pins, you have telescopic pins, literally a tiny pin moving inside of another pin. This design just multiplies the internal complexity, making it an absolute nightmare for anyone trying to pick it.
The big takeaway here is one word: control. For landlords or businesses that need a master key system, you know, where one key opens all the doors, but a tenant's key only opens their own, Mul-T-Lock is the undisputed king. Their keys are patented, which means you can't just go get a copy cut at the hardware store. You have total control over who has access.
All right. Now for that confusion I mentioned. Millions of homes have Chubb locks. It's a legendary name. But, and this is the important part, if you need to replace one today, you can't buy a new Chubb lock. The brand name was sold off, and the original, trusted designs are now made by a company called Union. So, a locksmith will replace your old Chubb with a new Union. It's the exact same great design, just with a different name on the box.
Okay, you ready? Let's get to the top of the pyramid. We're talking about the heavyweights now. These are the brands that represent the absolute peak of residential security, mixing pure physical strength with some really exclusive features.
Especially in London, Banham is the name that's synonymous with high-end security. You can literally spot their locks from across the street because they have such a distinctive look. They're a symbol of prestige for sure, but more importantly, they represent a complete security ecosystem.
What this shows is that you don't just buy a Banham lock,
You're buying into their system. It's really common to get a night latch and a deadlock that are keyed alike, which just means one single key conveniently operates both of them. And of course, all their main locks meet that crucial BS 3621 insurance standard.
So the bottom line with Banham is that it's for clients who demand the best of everything, not just security, but aesthetics and, crucially, control. You can't just get a Banham key copied at a local shop. No way. You have to be the registered owner and go directly through them.
Now, if Banham is the elegant, gold standard for systems, then Ingersoll is the master of pure brute force resistance. The Ingersoll SC11 model is often called the Rolls-Royce of night latches, and believe me, it has earned that title.
And this one number, says it all. Your standard high-security lock has 5 levers inside. The Ingersoll S71 has 10. That literally doubles the internal complexity, which makes it exceptionally difficult to pick or bypass.
So when a locksmith needs to secure a high-value wooden door against a physical attack, the Ingersoll is often the answer. It automatically deadlocks when you close the door. And that unique domed shape on the front makes it almost impossible for a burglar to get a grip on it and twist it off the door. It is simply in a class of its own when it comes to raw strength.
Okay, wow, we've covered a lot of ground, haven't we? From the everyday staples all the way up to the top-tier specialists. So, how do we pull all this together? What should you actually look for when you're thinking about your own security? Here it is. This is your ultimate takeaway checklist. First, and this is non-negotiable, always look for that BS 3621 stamp on the lock. That's your insurance seal of approval. Second, ask yourself, do I need key control? Do I want to stop just anyone from making copies? Third, make sure the lock actually matches your door type. And finally, always remember that opening quote. You're not just buying a lock, you are choosing your tier of security.
So, we'll leave you with this final thought. Now that you know what the professionals look for, from standards and levers to key control and brute strength, take a moment to think about your own front door. Seriously, what's guarding your home tonight?